So this is Elon Musk tweeting this out yesterday. It says Scott Ainsworth from Green Bay, Wisconsin is the first $1 million spokesperson for signing our petition in opposition to activist judges. And there they are holding a $1 million check. Already it's come into question. Headline, Elon Musk accused of blatant felony in Wisconsin with the voter sweepstakes. I want to go through a bunch of things today regarding the law, DEI. It may upset a lot of people, but I think it's worth a discussion because that's essentially what's going on right now. And we're also talking about judges, courts, and law. Check this out. This is Elon Musk tweeting about Hakeem Jeffries. Have a listen.
In Wisconsin, that's a 50-50 race because we know Wisconsin's a 50-50 state.
Yeah.
And we have a strong Democratic candidate. Whoever wins is going to determine who has the majority in the Wisconsin Supreme Court. Why is that important? Because there are gerrymandered congressional lines right now in Wisconsin. Wisconsin's a 50-50 state, as I mentioned, but there are 6 Republicans and only 2 Democrats out of an 8-person delegation because the lines are broken.
Right.
And as soon as possible, we need to be able to revisit that and have fair lines. The only way for that to be even a significant possibility is if you have an enlightened Supreme Court.
And then Elon Musk says, Supreme Court election in Wisconsin might determine the fate of America. And it's funny, when he tweets this out, I think he's trying to criticize Hakeem. But whenever I see Hakeem speak, I'm like, man, that guy's smart. And I want to bring this stuff up because the Republicans, they like to say, wow, it's all this DI hires are so unqualified. And it's like, I don't know, people like Hakeem Jeffries, that's the people I want in our leadership, opposed to, say, someone like a Musk who just tweets himself out playing video games. Musk will say that killing the demons in a video game calms the demons in my mind. That's from Elon Musk. I want to look at some resumes of various people because, again, this is about education, DI, this kind of stuff. So this is Hakeem Jeffries, people who Republicans hate. He has 3 degrees. Binghamton University, that's a SUNY, got an undergrad there, master's degree from Georgetown, I believe that's public policy, and a law degree from NYU, which is the 9th ranked school for law in the USA. So very good law school. I want to bring up Ketanji Jackson, who's one of my favorite people on the Supreme Court, and I'll tell you why. She is a Harvard grad for law, so Harvard Law, and 4th ranked law school. When they picked her for the Supreme Court and got in, you can see here, this was the headline, how Ketanji Brown Jackson's path to the Supreme Court differs from the current justices. Basically, you could argue she was the most qualified candidate in history, and the qualifications are sort of the way that you look at the resume. Did you go to public high school? Are you an Ivy League law school grad? Did you do a Supreme Court clerk? Were you a public defender? Did you do a sentencing commission, district judge, or court of appeals judge? She did all of these things, right, compared to the other ones. And then you could argue that Barrett, who was a white person, white woman, had the least qualified. Now, obviously there's different ways you can think about qualifications, but I just want to show you one way to think about it where Ketanji came in very strong. I also want to bring up Tammy Duckworth, and this will make sense as we go through this stuff. She was a pilot. She ended up getting injured, I believe it was in Iraq, and there she is there. And then, I personally think Tammy Duckworth, she's a senator now, but I personally think she would be a great candidate for president. But I understand in the USA, they prefer white dudes. That's just how it is in USA. Hopefully that'll change soon. She's got undergrad, master's, and a PhD. She's smart. I'll just be pretty frank. She's smart, and it's obvious in her language. You can hear it and you can see the steps that she says. From the Trump people, remember these people all complain about DEI because they think that if you're not white, they think you're not qualified. That's how these people think. Pam Bondi, she's got an undergrad from Florida, which is actually a pretty good undergrad, to be fair. But her law degree is 98th ranked in the country, and I guess she's our top attorney general. That's her, 98th ranked law school. You also have Mike Johnson, which would be the counterpart to Hakeem Jeffries. He went to Louisiana State for undergrad and for law. Louisiana State is the 91st ranked law school in the country. I'm bringing this stuff up because I want to just compare resumes, right? Because DEI, according to the Republicans, it means that we are hiring people who are unqualified. If you want to look at our media landscape, Rachel Maddow, you may or may not know this. She has an undergrad from Stanford and she has a PhD from Oxford. Last I checked, that's pretty good. She's not stupid. It's obvious in her language. You can tell she's smart. Sean Hannity, he is a college dropout. That's the face of the Republicans over in the Fox News landscape. Also, I want to make it really, really clear: just because someone has a education or went to good schools doesn't necessarily mean they are ethical. If you know what I mean, you can check out this, or don't know, I guess I should say. You can check out this documentary. It's called The Smartest Guys in the Room. It's about Enron. And after the whole Enron scandal, which they basically stole a lot of people's retirement, there was a big push to push ethics in business schools around the country, which I think is a very important thing. Now, for some people, and this would be sort of in the Musk camp and the Trumps and the Republicans, they say, well, why do we need to teach, ethics in business school? Why do we need to teach diversity? Why do we need to learn about, emotional intelligence? Like, we just need to learn how to make money. That's how these kind of people think. The Enron people, the Musk people, Tesla people, let's just make money. That's the most important thing. Just make that money. And I just want you guys to understand, like, that is not a great way to think about the world, in my opinion. Now, I do want to also mention, because this will be a lot of people will get very upset when I mention this stuff, but I'm just showing you facts. In the media in general, it is dominated by white people. I just want to be honest with you about this stuff. If you don't know, I worked in Hollywood. I saw it for firsthand. This isn't really Hollywood. This is the YouTube landscape, but this is you could call it left-leaning media on YouTube, etc. I think they're called Midas Touch. I frankly don't watch this stuff, but I know a lot of people do. You can take a look at the people who they work with. So these are all their contributors. I'll just show you who the 3 pages that's on their webpage right now. You can get a general sense of who it is. It's not hard to see. I mean, it's all right there, right? And I think it was started by 3 brothers, so they're only looking at family members, etc. One of the biggest, sort of pushes for diversity, equity, and inclusion is to have different types of people involved in things that you do and include everyone and look at all candidates. So, when you start a company and you're like, hey, I'm only going to look to hire my brothers and look for people who look like me, that's what you get. And that's what a lot of these sort of companies and things do. Now, not everyone, I want to make this really clear, not everyone is out to only hire people that look like them. There are many companies out there that are like, you know what, I'm looking at all candidates, etc. But unfortunately, that's just the way the world is. And when you get into this stuff, again, it gets very, very sensitive in USA. I understand that stuff, but I just want to tell you my feelings on these things. Now, regarding what Musk was saying and Hakeem Jeffries, gerrymandering is actually a real problem in USA. And the basic idea is that if you're the party in power, then you'll redraw the district lines in order to favor your party and hold power. So this was actually kind of an interesting article that came out last year. It says Wisconsin's extreme gerrymandering era ends as new maps come into force. But the basic idea, though, is that depending on how you want to draw the map lines, and I don't know if they do this in other countries. If you guys are around the world, you can let me know. But the basic idea is that you would draw it to favor, your side. So in this situation, you're talking about Sheboygan, Wisconsin. Blue would be Democrat leaning, right? Red would be Republican. And if you draw it one way, you could divide the Democrats, you draw it, say, north-south, and that would split their vote, right? You guys can see it right there. Or you could draw it a different way, and the Democrats would have a chance to actually win, depending on how you want to draw it, right? So in this example here, we'll go back to the first example for you guys who haven't seen this kind of stuff before. This happens in USA and in many states, and both parties do it in different ways. So I just want to make that clear. Depending on how you draw the map, so in this situation, then Republicans could get both of these seats, right? Let's say the 26th district and the 27th district. But if you draw it this way, then you could probably split the seats, right? So Democrats would get 1 seat and Republicans would get another seat. So that's gerrymandering. And this kind of stuff, say, for example, if I feel like my rights are being abused, that I have no chance to win elections the way that the maps are drawn, or if the government fires me and I think they did something illegal, or if I think the government's taking away my benefits and they're doing something illegal, etc. Trump right now is trying to reshape our laws to basically that you can't sue the government. That's basically what this boils down to. The courts are stepping into this stuff to say, yo. I mean, just like this is totally anti-democratic. But this is something that you don't want to ignore how our legal system works. I'll give you some other examples. These days, Trump is looking to basically kill DEI, right? So they want to go to a system, and this would be Trump's point of view, to where only white people get hired and only family members get hired. So that's basically what it boils down to. Let's make it as simple as possible. So what Trump is doing, he's sicking the SEC on Disney, going after them, and also to Trump. This was just announced today. I guess they're going to try to enforce this how was the headline here? U.S. tells European companies to comply with Donald Trump's anti-diversity order. Yeah, if you want to call it anti-diversity. Basically, if you do business with the USA, if you're hiring people other than white people, we're going to go after you. That's what ends up being. And this is the world that the Trumps and the Musks, want. They want a world where, say, someone like a Pete Hegseth is bring your wife to work day every day, and also bring your brother to work, right? So it's hire people that look a certain way in the Trump and Musk point of view, mostly hire white people if we can, and hire family members. That's what they want. And, part of, if you guys don't understand how the world works, and this is just how it's played, oftentimes it's who you know and not necessarily what you know. And if you don't look the right way, and if you don't have the right connections, you got to make sure your resume is twice as good, 3 times as good, 4 times as good as your competitors, say, who have the family connections or look the right way. Like I said, I know a lot of people get upset when I mention this kind of stuff, but it's actually a big topic in my book. And I talk about it quite a bit because it was just a big impact on my life, to where I would get to certain places, be it government, be it media, etc. And then I realized, oh my God, the people in power are complete morons. Like what the heck is going on? And then you quickly realize, like, oh, okay, you're hired because you had so-and-so daddy, or you're hired because you look a certain way. And regarding the look a certain way thing, if you guys understand how people think, sometimes they'll just look at something. So for example, this would be an American thinking. They might look at, say, Tammy Duckworth, right? This would be for Americans, and say, Tammy just doesn't look like a president. But presidents, they just don't look like that. They don't dress that way. They don't have long hair, right? and you're trying to get into the basically, for many Americans, they prefer a dude, right? They only think of dudes being in positions of power. Or, many Americans might look at someone like Ketanji and like, she doesn't look like a leader. She doesn't look like a judge. I mean, her hair's not right? She just doesn't look the right way. And just to be perfectly frank, for these type of Americans, they look at someone like Elon Musk and like, oh, well, I mean, Elon Musk, he's really rich and he looks the right way and he's really good at video games. I mean, he must be the most qualified guy in the whole world. And you're telling me he's going to go to Mars. So I think I have to give him all my money. And Elon Musk, he wants to help people. I mean, look at the people he's helping. He's giving them $1 million checks and he just wants to help people. And it's hard because, like, how do you have conversations with people who in their mind, they already have set biases, right? And I'm having a conversation with you because people would say, oh, but Chris, your biases are blah, 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 blah. I mean, guys, I want to make this really clear. I'm not saying that all white people are uneducated, and I'm not saying that all white people are not qualified. I'm not saying that at all. I literally just showed you an example of, say, here, there's a couple white people, and I'm just looking at their resumes. One person has 2 degrees, a PhD from Oxford is pretty good, and one guy is a college dropout. And it's actually pretty obvious to me. And I also want to make it clear that education alone does not necessarily mean that you're going to be a good person. That's why I mentioned the thing of Enron. I know this is a complicated issue and people get really sensitive when you talk about this stuff, but I want to have a serious and honest discussion with you, just showing you guys facts. And that's why I mentioned the whole Midas touch thing, where you can kind of see the type of people that they work with. It's obvious. So anyway, I just wanted to bring this stuff up. That's what's going on in USA. People are going to fight over this stuff, I understand. But I want you to get like how it has an impact on your life, and also to understand like the laws are really important to pay attention to, because when you feel like the government is cheating you or whatever, the way Musk and Trumps want to do it, they want to make it so that you can't sue them, which I think is wrong. I think we should have rights to sue the government if we think they're doing something wrong. So anyway, do want to appreciate your thoughts, and want to hear your thoughts on this, and I'll catch you on the next video.